Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to Vedantis JEE channel. Tell me, how are you all? How are things going at your end? Many of you might have prepared and appeared for the examination of JEE in the month of January just now, and I'm sure that many of you are going to appear for the examination in the month of April again. Yes or no? So guys, this particular series, which you know is known as JEE Sprint for people who are taking a drop or are repeaters. This specifically is targeting especially the questions which have come in the previous year examinations of JEE. And for people who have taken a drop, I'm sure you guys still have a lot of time in your hand. You are not worried about the board examination in the month of March, which is going to happen. So you guys are that ways, I'm sure, are tension free. But the time which is there in your hand, I'm sure that you want to utilize it very properly and adequately. So guys, that's why very easily, let me put it this way, that the coming few days which are there in front of you, how to utilize them, how to target each and every chapter. One by one, we are going to pick up the chapters and we are going to solve as many questions as possible which have appeared in the previous year JEE examinations. Okay guys, so this is physics session, and today the topic that you can see in the background is kinematics. Yes, the chapter which is usually neglected by an exam like JEE or NEET as well. But then you are aware that the fundamentals of these chapters are very rigorously and thoroughly used throughout the course of physics for 11th standard and 12th standard. So what's that topic that we are going to cover in kinematics today? It's motion in 1D and motion in 2D. Yes guys, what we are going to do, we are going to see many problems which have appeared in the previous year examination. I'll tell you how to tackle them, how to simplify them, and if you are lucky, in your day of examination, if a question comes from kinematics itself, you should not be able to miss out on that question, because kinematics, anything said and done about it, it's not going to be a very challenging chapter, as you all know. I'm sure you all feel that ways about the chapter as well. So we don't want to miss out on those 4 marks from this particular chapter. Okay guys, so let's go forward. Guys, for all of you who do not know me, this is me, your Suri Sir, and very fondly known as Mogambo as well. Why? Because when you will be cracking these examinations, be it JEE, be it NEET, Mogambo khush hota hai. Yes guys, as you can see, I'm an alumnus of IIT Bombay, and that's my Instagram handle. If you want to follow me, you can do that as well. But don't worry, I'll not be teaching you physics over there. Okay guys, so in the beginning only, let me just tell you this, that if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, then right now go ahead, subscribe to the channel, because a lot of things are being planned just for you guys. Do not miss out on any of those things. And also tell your friends about the channel, share with them, let them also take the advantage of this amazing session which is going to happen not just for today, for all the subjects in the coming few days. Okay guys, so let's go forward, and very first is how the examination of JEE was in the month of January in or with respect to this particular chapter. How many questions were asked from the unit of kinematics? Let's have a look at that. So you can see that what I've done, all the 6 papers which happened ranging from 7th till 9th of January, you can see that all in all there were 3 questions which were asked. 1 question appeared on the day of 8th January, that is shift 1, and 1 each appeared on the day of 9th January, shift 1, as well as on shift 2. So I will say that yes, these guys were lucky in a way, because whenever a kinematics question will come, I'm sure that all of you who are there will be able to crack that question. Yes or no? So don't worry if your examination includes this chapter question. It's well and good. If doesn't, I'm sure the concept of this chapter will help you in cracking the other chapter questions. Okay guys, so थोड़ी देर में आगे जाएंगे, we'll go forward. Let me tell you a very important thing, that if you guys are still looking to prepare for entire subject, or maybe the entire course of physics, chemistry and maths, and you are worried that how am I going to revise all those chapters, a humongous syllabus of JEE, then I have just a solution for all of you. And what is that? We call it the Vedantis JEE crash course. Let me take you through all the important points as well as the benefits that you get when you join the crash course with us. Obviously, you get the live classes, not the recorded one, but the live classes at Vedantis platform by the very best teachers who are there in our team. Okay guys, so all 3 subjects, live classes you get. Apart from that, you get the comprehensive test with quality assignments and the detailed analysis of each and every test. You know that any test that you appear for, the process is not done only with the marks that you get, but the amount of mistakes that you made, the analysis of your own performance, which chapters you are doing well, which chapters you need to focus upon, that analysis is provided to you very regularly. Apart from that, guys, yes, you get the doubt solving sessions by the academic mentors, all the master teachers, including me, and you can replay and do the recordings and as well as watch all those recordings of the classes if you ever miss out on any of the live classes. So you don't have to worry. Even if you miss a class, you can watch those recordings. Okay. And what else? You get the important tips and tricks for cracking this examination of JEE. Every now and then you will be meeting us online and we will be sharing all the tips and tricks which are very, very crucial sometimes in cracking this examination, especially in time saving. Okay. Apart from that, towards the end of these sessions, you will be having your rank booster quizzes to strengthen your concept as well as do the rank refining. And what else, guys? Yes, you get the paper analysis of the JEE examinations which have happened in the past, which is very, very crucial to understand what type of questions have appeared in the previous examinations of JEE. Okay, guys. So how do I avail all these amazing benefits? So guys, very simple process. Let me take you through that. So the link for enrolling for the crash course is this. Will also be available in the description below of this video. So you can access that. Just you have to click over there, but then follow these steps. When you are going to purchase this course, don't forget to apply a coupon, because that coupon is going to give you a lot of financial benefits while purchasing the course. So what is that code that you have to use? Note this down. Yes, you have to note this down. This is SMCC. This will help you get amazing benefit. What is that benefit that you get? Have a look at this, guys. The course, which is worth rupees 20,000, you get it for less than half price. That is 9,500 rupees. Is it amazing or not? I'm sure that you guys who are looking forward to go through the entire syllabus of PCM, this is just the solution made for you. So do not hesitate. Just visit this link, use the benefit, and don't forget to use this coupon code to get the fees reduced to this 9,500 rupees. Okay, guys. So I'm sure that you guys are ready for the session now. We will be solving all the questions which I have brought for all of you from various years of JEE examination, and we'll be solving each and every question one by one. Try to solve along with me. Have a pen and paper ready with you so that you can crack all these questions by yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead. So guys, here's the very first question for all of you. Options are also written. The question says that a car is moving with a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, can be stopped by brakes after at least 6 meters. So there is a car which is moving. When the driver applies the brake, from that moment, traveling for 6 meters, the car can be stopped. That's the minimum distance required. Okay. So if the car is now moving at a speed which is double, that is 100 kilometers per hour, then what will be the minimum stopping distance? If you are a guy who are thinking like a layman, then you might think about the answer to be just the double value, that is 12 meters. But you know that kinematics don't work like the 8th standard formula of distance is equal to speed into time, because when you are going to apply the brakes, certainly the car is going to decelerate. Means what? The velocity is going to change, and whenever the velocity is changing, you cannot say that the formula will be displacement is equal to velocity into time. In fact, that formula is only applicable when something is moving with a constant velocity. So here obviously the velocity is changing, so you cannot go by that. But yes, whenever additional information is not given about the acceleration, about how the velocity is changing, what we are going to assume is that the acceleration of the object is going to be a constant. Okay, that means we are assuming that the retardation with which the car is going to stop is going to be a constant, because nothing has been mentioned over here in the question. So we are assuming that the retardation is going to be constant. Okay, guys. And whenever we are dealing with acceleration or retardation being constant, the type of motion which we are dealing with is known as uniformly accelerated or retarded motion. Now, guys, you can see that in the question, nowhere the time has been mentioned. And there are 3 equations of motion which you guys are aware about. What are those equations? One is V is equal to U plus AT. Second one is S is equal to UT plus half AT square. Yes or no? And the last one is V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. I'm sure you guys are aware about these equations. Yes? Now tell me, which equation should I use? If I would be thinking about equation 1 and 2, then the only problem is that there is nothing being mentioned about the time. So how much time the car is going to take in the first case and in the second case has not been mentioned. So what does it give you? It actually leaves you with this third equation. Okay, and in that also the car has to finally stop, which means what? The final velocity has to become 0. That means what? I'll be taking this value to be 0 and we'll try to find out what is the value of the car's retardation, assuming that whenever you apply the brakes, the car is going to apply the same amount of force in order to stop it, or rather the ground will apply the same amount of friction force. It's the same surface. So that's why the retardation value or acceleration value numerically will come out to be the same. Which means what, guys? So if I use this formula of v square equal to u square plus 2as, which is the third equation of motion, I can say that final velocity is 0, initial velocity is u, so it's square, and I'm putting already a minus sign because it is a retardation case, equal to, or let me write it as plus a, and here I'm writing it as minus a into s. Okay, so if you rearrange this, I'm sure you get this. This is going to come out to be u square by 2s, the value of acceleration or retardation in this case. So a is equal to u square by 2s. 2s is what we are going to use here. Now guys, the second thing which we may think is that the velocity is given in terms of kilometers per hour, which is not SI unit, and the stopping distance is mentioned and options are also in terms of meter. So you may go after changing the velocity in terms of meters per second, but that is not required. Reason being, because the acceleration is going to be same or retardation is going to be same in both the cases, I'm just going to equate the two cases. So I'll say that the value of a in the first is u square by 2s, where u value is given to us as 50 km per hour. So it is 50 into 50, and I'm dividing this value by the stopping distance into 2. So that value is given to us as 6. Yes or no? So that value is given as 6. Equating it to the next case, where we don't know how much that distance is going to be, but we do know the velocity with which the car is moving, that is 100, and then I'm dividing it by 2 into, say, x, the value which we do not know. Okay, then what, guys? You can see that this 50 is going to cancel this by 2 times, this 50 will cancel this also by 2 times. Very simple calculations. Yes or no? Cancel this 2 as well. So what do you have? You have 4 and you have 6. That means the value of x, the new stopping distance, will come out to be 6 into 4, that is 24 meters. So guys, the answer to this question is not 12 meters, rather the answer is option C, that is 24 meters. Tell me if you got the answer right or not. Tell that to me on the comment box, which is there below of this video. Okay guys, tell me what approach you applied. If you solved it correctly, then also Mugambo खुश हुआ, और अगर आप नहीं solve कर पाए इसे correctly, so guys, the method is there in front of you. Have a look, and if you are still facing difficulties, just replay the video back. You'll be able to understand. It's a very simple question. Okay, so guys, question from JEE 2003, a very simple question in the beginning, but as we are going forward, I'll take the questions which are not as simple as this. Okay, cool guys. So let's go forward. Next question पे जाते हैं. So what's the next question? So the next question, guys, is there in front of you. I hope I haven't missed out on the question. Yes, the question number 2 is this one, which is from JEE 2004, and let's read the question first. Just read the question, guys. What the question says? It says that there is a ball which is released from the top of a tower of height h meters. Okay, and it takes capital T seconds to reach the ground. To cover that distance h by freely falling, assuming that it is happening in the case of vacuum, we do not assume any air resistance unless it is mentioned. And then question is asking what is the position of the ball at t by 3 seconds. So 1/3 of the time that it takes completely to fall by a height of h, 1/3 of that time, where exactly the ball is going to get located. Okay, looks like a doable question, motion under gravity question. I'm sure that you guys are aware that motion under gravity is basically a specialized case of uniformly accelerated motion, and because we are speaking about the displacement, so that's why the equation which comes into picture over here is y is equal to ut plus half at square. But then the acceleration value, whenever you are dealing with the motion under gravity, is going to be minus g. Now you may think that why the value is minus g. The ball, when it is falling, it is going to speed up, then why the value is going to be minus g? So let me tell you guys, whenever any object is falling under gravity, it is moving because of an acceleration which is g, acceleration due to gravity. But usually, as per the sign conventions, we consider the downward direction to be negative. That's why the value is taken as minus g. So you will not call it retardation when the ball is falling. Rather, you will call it acceleration in the negative direction. And when the ball is going up, theoretically, if the ball goes up, then what happens? The value is going to be still motion under gravity g, but this time it is moving in the positive direction, no doubt about that. But when you are throwing something upward, it's not going to speed up, it's going to slow down. So it is positive direction, but the value is still minus g, reason being now it is retarding. So that's retardation in the positive direction. I hope that point is clear. When it is falling or when it is going up, all you have to do is, what you keep in mind, the value of a will be put as minus g for motion under gravity. Okay guys, I hope that the point is clear. Okay, so let's go forward. Let's try to understand how do I solve this question. Question says that if this is point A from where the body must have started falling, and eventually it is going to come to this point B, and say it's going to travel a displacement of minus h, because it is going to come down, but I'm writing the value numerically, h, and that is covered in a time capital T. So say the body will be reaching somewhere here, that is point C, and this is something when the body must have covered a distance of y, and that too in a time that is t by 3. So we want to locate that point C. That's what question is asking us to find out. Because the ball has been released, so whenever in a question the ball or the body is just dropped or released, then the initial velocity of the object is taken as 0. Please remember that. Okay, that means what? The velocity at A, which is u, is nothing but 0. Okay, cool. So guys, when I will try to apply the formula, the equation number 2, we will be using it for A to B. So when I go for A to B, the equation looks like minus h is equal to 0, because u is 0 initially, and it is minus half g, and the time taken is capital T. So this becomes h is equal to half gt square. Yes or no? So h is equal to half gt square. Okay guys? Yes or no? Now when I speak about A to C, that is between point A to C, the y displacement which the body is going to cover, and that too in a time that is t by 3, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that now y will be equal to 0 again, because the initial velocity is still the same point, and this is going to be minus half g t by 3 square. So minus gets cancelled because again the body is covering a negative displacement. Okay, that means what guys? Y comes out to be half gt square, and this 1 by 3 when squares gives you value 9. And what is half gt square? It's nothing but h. That means the value of y is nothing but h by 9. Yeah, happy? Got the value? Body has reached point C after traveling a displacement of h by 9, and then you will be looking at the option and you will say that, wow, I've got the answer. My answer is option C. You think like that? But then guys, that is where in an exam like JEE or in any examination, this is where our nervousness takes over us. It gets the best out of us. Okay, it gets rather better of us. Why this has been the answer and not the correct answer? Reason being, if you just read h by 9 and did not read further, then instead of getting +4 which you thought you should, you will be actually be suffering with the loss of 1 mark. Why guys? Read this. Always and always read the option very, very, very carefully. Even if you are a first timer or even if you are a person who's taking a drop, I'm sure this is one of the common mistakes that we all make. So guys, the distance is measured from the ground. What we have measured right now is the displacement covered by the body starting from the beginning point, which is A. But the question is asking us to calculate the value of the height from the ground, which means what? We are asked to calculate this value. Let's call it x. This x is what is required in the question. So out of h by 9 has been covered. So how much is the remaining displacement that the body has to cover? Now you know the answer very well. Yes or no? So answer is not option C, my dear friends. What is the correct answer? Tell me. Yes, by now you got the answer already. Yes, the correct answer to this question is option A. H minus h by 9 gives you the value as 8h by 9. Yes guys, so the correct answer to this question is option A. Cool? Got the mistake right? Very nice. If you didn't make this mistake, you are a person who's very careful. But if you made this mistake, guys, one of the points that you should take into consideration when you're solving questions for this examination. Okay guys, I hope you liked the question. Question is not difficult obviously, but as I told you, a question which is very prone for making mistakes. Okay, so the question from JEE 2004. Okay, cool. Let's go forward. Let's speed up a bit. So now guys, the next question is there in front of you. Now this is one of the relatively challenging questions of kinematics, not because it is difficult, it's going to be lengthy. Okay, let's read the question right. So what does the question say? Question says that a car is starting from rest, accelerates at the rate of f through a distance s. Then it continues at a constant speed for time t and then decelerates at a rate of f by 2 to finally come to rest. So question has three parts. First, acceleration, then uniform motion, and then retardation. Okay guys, whenever you come across a question which reads like this, the first thing that should come in your mind is at least to draw the graph of the situation, because it's very easy to draw this graph. And what type of graph do you need here is velocity time graph. Okay, why? Velocity time graph is one of the most important graphs in kinematics, because the slope of velocity time graphs, as you all are aware, gives you the value of acceleration, and the area bounded by the velocity time graph gives you the amount of displacement that is covered by the body. Yes, I'm sure that you are aware about that. So now the question is telling us that if the total distance traveled in this entire journey is 15s, s is the first half of the distance which is covered by the body. So which of these options is going to be right? Okay, the question is from JEE 2005, the year when I appeared for this examination. And yes, one of the questions which I still remember, I solved it correctly, but it was a very time consuming question, because at that point of time I wasn't aware about the method that I'm going to tell you. It's a very simple process. I'm not saying it's going to be solved within say 10 or 15 seconds, but yes, it's a question which is which gives you confidence when you're able to solve this question in an exam like JEE. Okay guys, so first thing first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to first draw the graph of the situation, the velocity time graph. Okay, so this is where I'm drawing velocity on y-axis. This is where I'll be putting on time on x-axis. Usually that's what we do. So in the first part, the car is going to accelerate say at a rate of f. So let me draw that graph. So this is say the situation for which the car has accelerated. That rate is given to us as f. After that, whatever velocity it has achieved, it moves with that constant velocity for some more time, and that time is given to us as t. And after that, it decelerates at a rate which is half of the first case. Means what? It will slow down relatively slower. Means what? The rate at which it was speeding up, that was double the rate at which it is going to slow down. Means what? If it slows down, then it will take more time, because the rate of deceleration is half. Okay, so guys, what is mentioned here, let's have a look at that. So what is given to us is that the area of this triangle, which is going to give you the displacement in this case, because direction is not changed, so distance is also going to be same. So let's call it S, let's call it S2, and let's call it S3. Okay, what is given to us apart from that is the time which is taken in the second half of the journey. This time has not been mentioned, so let's call it T1 and let's call it T3. T2 is T. Okay, and this part is given as f by 2 deceleration rate. So guys, very quickly, if the car started from rest, accelerated at a rate f, moved for a time t1, if you apply v equal to u plus at with u equal to 0, it is only acceleration into time. That means what? The velocity, maximum velocity, is going to be f times t1. So we have that velocity also with us. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the values of all the three displacements in the three sections of this graph. So the first part is when the displacement, let's call it S1, is given to us as S, and that is nothing but the area of this triangle, which is half altitude divided by multiplied by the base of this triangle. So this is half into the height, that is f t1, into the base, that is t1. So what do we get S as? We get it as half f t1 square. Okay, you can get this by the second equation of motion as well, ut plus half at square. Okay, so this is your equation number 1. Now what is equation number 2 is for S2. Now S2 is basically uniform motion, and what you see here is basically a rectangle kind of shape being formed. So easily I can say it is length into breadth, which is f times t1 multiplied by t, because this is the length. Yeah, sorry, rather this is the length, that is t, and the height is f times t1. So this is the height, this is the length of that. That means what do we get is f times t1 into t. This is S2. Okay, and answer, as you can see in the options, is in terms of f and t, not in terms of t1, because t1 and t3 are something that we have assumed. And if I speak about S3, then S3 is again the area of the triangle, which is half into altitude, which is f times t1 multiplied by this gap. That is how much? That is given to you as t3. Okay guys, can I say that if it is taking a speed, a rate at f when accelerating and then slowing down at half the rate, then the time that will be taken will be 2t. You can easily find that out, by the way, or in fact 2t1, not 2t but 2t1. Okay, so this is 2 times t1, t3. Why guys? You can just simply equate the velocity initial and final here. Use this equation v equal to u plus at for both the parts. You'll be able to find out that relation of time, because time is going to be v by a. So v is same and a is half there, so it's going to take the double time to get the same value of v. So if you do a1 t1 here and a2 t3 here, you will get the value of t3 as 2 times of t1. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do now, let me put this t3 as 2 times of t1. Okay, you can see that 2 gets cancelled, and what you get here is f t1 square, which, my dear friends, is nothing but double the value of s1. Means what? We can say that it's going to be the value which is 2 times s, because it is slowing down relatively at a half rate. That's why it's going to cover more displacement car when it is decelerating at a rate of f by 2. Okay guys, and now the last information given in the question, if the total distance traveled is 15s, then let's just add all three. So first one is s, second one is s2. Okay, s2 is given to us as ft1t, writing that directly, ft1t plus 2s. This value is given to you as 15s, which means what? ft1t comes out to be 12s. Okay guys, now when you look at this equation, this is in terms of ft1 square, this is ft1t, and this is equal to s, this is equal to 12s. So if you divide these two equations, okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to basically find the value of t1 in terms of t, so that my unknown gets found, or say gets eliminated. So I can say that if I divide this equation with this equation, then what do I have is ft1t divided by half ft1 square is equal to, this is equal to 12s, and this is equal to s. So s gets cancelled, 1 t1 gets cancelled, f gets cancelled. So what do you have? When you find out the value of t1, this 12 comes here, and the value of t1 comes out to be t by 6. So we got the value of t1 in terms of t, and now because your answer has to be in terms of t, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this equation, I'm going to put the value of t1 over there. Okay, let me put that. So I get s is equal to half f. Over here I'm putting the value of t1, and that is t1 square. That means what do I get is t square by 36. Means what guys? S is equal to 1 by 72 ft square. Okay, that means the correct answer to this question is option D. I hope you liked the question. Yes, very surprisingly that year when I appeared for JEE, a question from kinematics came, but it turned out to be a lengthy question. So what is advisable whenever you get a question like this? After drawing the graph itself, you'll be able to understand that it is going to take time. So take a smart call whether you want to attempt it then and there, or you want to leave it for the later part of the chapter or later part of the examination, so that you're not, wasting a lot of time in just getting those 4 marks, because it may so happen that the time that this question takes, maybe around 3 to 4 minutes at least, you may be able to solve 3 or 4 questions from chemistry, which is more advisable because your marks are more important than your acceptance of the challenge to be able to solve a question. Okay guys, I'll get aside for a second so that you can see what we have done here. We were drawing the graph first. We wrote S1, S2, S3, added all 3 to equate it to 15S. Interestingly, we found the value of S3 as 2S. After that, the situation became easier. Then what we did, equation number 1 and the last equation, we divided to find the value of T1 in terms of T, which came out to be T by 6. Put it back over here, we got the value. Okay guys, you can do that by putting it on S3 as well. You'll get the same answer. You can try that as well. Okay guys, so a question from JEE 2005, one of the very good questions of kinematics which have come ever in the examination of JEE Main. Okay, cool guys, I hope you liked the question, and let's move on to the next question now. So here's your next question. That is question which is from, okay, this is the question which have come in the year of 2006. Yeah, so this was the previous question. This is your question number 4, I guess, and this is JEE 2006 question. Let's read the question. Question says that a particle located at x equal to 0 at t equal to 0 starts moving towards the positive direction, x direction, with a velocity that is v, and the velocity is varying as alpha under root of x, where alpha is obviously a constant if it is not mentioned. Then the displacement of the particle varies with time as. So relatively, by reading itself, you are able to gauge that it is not as challenging as the previous question over here. Okay, so guys, let's try to solve this. We have all the options here. Also try to solve this along with me. What is given to us is that at t equal to 0, displacement is 0, body's position is 0, and the body's velocity is varying as alpha times under root x. So we know that velocity is given as dx by dt. Yes or no? It's basically the differentiation of the body's displacement, and given as alpha under root of x. Now, because if we have to find out the value of x in terms of t, that is what is desired in the question. So obviously I'll try to do the integration here. So I'm writing the root x as x to the power half, which means what? I can rearrange it to write it as x to the power half here in the denominator. dt goes on that side, that is right hand side, and I can write it like this. Okay, so guys, taking this in numerator, I have x to the power minus half dt, and on the right hand side we have alpha dt. Okay, let's do the integration. So this is how we are going to integrate it. This is going to be dx. Okay, so x to the power minus half dx is equal to alpha dt. Let's do the integration. We are aware about x to the power n integration, that is x to the power minus half plus 1, which gives you half, and divided by minus half plus 1, that is also half, and here you get alpha t. Okay, so guys, now what we do, we will rearrange this. We can take this half on the other side. So we have x to the power half equal to alpha by 2 into t. Okay, so let's square the equation. We have x is equal to alpha square by 4 times t square, and the question is asking us for the proportionality. So the x, or you can say the displacement of the body, is directly proportional to t square. Okay, very simply we got the answer. Yeah, that means the correct answer to this question is option A, a question which came in 2006. I hope that you are also able to solve it along with me. Okay, tell me that in the comment box if you got the answer right or not. Okay, cool guys, I hope you understood this as well. Okay, so moving on to the next question now. Next question is here for all of you to see. What does the question say? Question says that the coordinates of a moving particle at any time t are given by x equal to alpha t cube and y equal to beta t cube. So x and y coordinates are changing, means the body is traveling in xy plane. It's a two-dimensional motion now. So far we were solving the questions from 1D. This is a 2D question because both x and y coordinates are changing with time. Equation tells you that. Okay, so the speed of particle at time t is to be found. Okay, so guys, whenever the question from 2D comes, always remember you want to split the motion on x and y axis, whichever two axes are mentioned in the question. So this displacement is given to you as alpha t cube and y displacement is given to you as beta t cube. Okay, and to find out the speed of the particle, we need to find out the components of the speed, because if the particle is moving on this plane, say at a given point of time this is what the velocity is, then velocity will have two components and we are interested in those two components. This is say Vx, this is Vy. What is Vx? Vx is basically the variation of x coordinate. What is Vy? Variation of y coordinate. That's how things are done here. So when we write Vx, that's basically dx by dt, and that is nothing, very simply alpha is a constant, t cube's differentiation is 3t square, so you have 3 alpha t square as the value of Vx, and if you speak about Vy, that will come out to be 3 beta t square. Okay, so guys, we have the value of x and y components of the velocity. You know how to calculate the resultant of both of them, that is under root of Vx square plus Vy square. Okay, so square this and square this as well. 3t square is a common thing, so it will come out, so it will be 3t square out of the bracket, and in under root you will have alpha square plus beta square, which looks like the answer to this question to me. And if we look at the option, it appears to me as option B. Okay, guys, so sometimes I pick questions which are so easily doable as well in series like this, because it actually strengthens the belief that even in an exam like JEE, a lot of easy questions are asked. Okay, don't worry, I will bring the questions, those 3 questions which have come in JEE 2020 also in the month of January. We'll solve those questions also in a while. Okay, I hope you understood this and were able to crack this question by yourself. Okay, so a question from JEE 2003 this was. Let's go to the next question. Okay, now a question from graph. Okay guys, have a look at the graphs here. Question says that all the graphs which are given below are intended to represent the same motion, and one of them does it incorrectly. So we have to pick that up. Okay, so let's go one by one and try to see how these graphs are representing the same motion and which of them is an odd one out. Okay, so guys, when we pick up the first graph, what you see here, that this is a velocity position graph, so it can come back to the y-axis again. So initially when you look at this point, it says that position is 0 but the velocity is positive. Okay, so this is the positive velocity. Okay, after some time, when you see that the body has reached to some displacement on x-axis, then the velocity has become 0. This is the point where body has come to rest. Means what? Body was moving in the positive direction and stops. Okay, after that, what you see, the body's position is again coming back towards 0, and once it becomes 0, this time the velocity has become negative. That means what is happening? Say if I'm that object, I was moving towards the positive direction, I stopped after some displacement covered, then I started coming back, so now my velocity has become negative. That's what it says. Means right now this particular graph tells me the body goes forward, stops, comes back. Okay, so that's what first graph tells you. Okay, let's have a look at the second graph. Now what does this tell you? The graph is between distance and time, and if we try to talk about the direction of velocity, it has to be coherent with the first graph, which means body's velocity in the beginning should be positive, then should become 0 somewhere, and then should become negative also. But if you look at the very first point itself, guys, what does it say? It says that the graph appears to have a tangent which is having a zero slope, which means what? The slope of distance time graph, if you take it as displacement time graph, then the velocity or the speed of the body initially itself is zero, which does not resonate with the first option over here. So either this is going to be wrong or that's going to be wrong. So let's understand what is happening here. So after some time, when the body has started moving, if I draw a tangent here, you can see that the slope of the tangent is positive. That means now the body has started moving and has some velocity. In the beginning, it had zero velocity. And say when the body reaches here, again when I draw a tangent here, gives you a slope of the tangent to be equal to zero. That means what? Body has come to rest while moving in the same direction. That means what? I'm that body. I started moving, gained some velocity, and finally stopped. That's what has happened. Okay. So this one was telling you that it is going forward, stopping and coming back. In this case, it is basically telling you that initially the body was at rest, started moving and then stopped in the same direction. Here the body was already moving, stopped and then coming back. I hope that two options are clear. We still are not sure which one is odd one out. For that we need to check option C and D. So if we check option C, what does it tell you? It tells you that on the graph at the initial position, if I draw a tangent, the velocity is positive because the slope is positive, and by the end of it, when the position again becomes zero, which was in sync with the first option, the velocity has become negative, and if we check an in-between point, the velocity is zero. So positive velocity, zero velocity and negative velocity. Yes, so body had positive velocity, stops, comes back. Looks like option A and C are coherent to each other, are resonating with each other, are depicting the similar situation. So the ultimate litmus test will be your option D. What does it say? It's a very simple velocity time graph. So initially the body's velocity is positive, here it becomes zero, and here it becomes negative, which is exactly situation of A and C. Which means what, guys? The odd one out is this situation. Yes, I hope you are able to read the graphs properly. One advice that I would like to share over here is that whenever a graph is given to you, do not be worried or do not be afraid of those graphs, because graphs are a very easy way of representing any information. What should you keep in mind rather more than that is make sure that you're reading what is represented on X and Y axis. Sometimes we are in such a flow that every time whenever we have a graph from kinematics or a question from kinematics, we end up assuming that it is a velocity time graph. So make sure that you are able to visualize everything after reading what is mentioned on the axis. Then on visualizing the question, and overall its understanding becomes very clear and you will be able to answer very easily, because the information, a lot of information is mentioned on the graph. Okay. Keep that tip in your mind. I'm sure that you'll be able to crack a lot of questions with that tip. Okay, so guys, this was a question, very recent question. I would say it is a 2018 question. Okay, so moving on to the next one now. Let's have a look at this question. What does the question say? Question says that you have a particle which has an initial velocity of 3 I cap plus 4 j cap. So that's the initial velocity, and the acceleration is given as 0.4 I cap plus 0.3 j cap, and the speed after 10 seconds has been asked. So guys, you can see that the acceleration given is constant. That means it is uniformly accelerated motion. Initial velocity is also given. So obviously you will think that you should use v equal to u plus at, and you are not wrong. You must have thought that I'm saying that this is not the equation to apply. Yes, this is the equation that we are going to apply. And say when the velocity has been given, this is the initial velocity. So how do you calculate its magnitude? You'll be calculating it as under root of 3 square plus 4 square, which gives you the velocity initially as 5. So initial velocity is 5 given to you. Awesome. And similarly, if you'll calculate the acceleration under root of 0.4 square plus 0.3 square, the value of acceleration also you'll be able to find out. It will come out to be 0.5. Awesome. Yes or no? Now what? We have u, we have a, and we have t also. Only thing left is to calculate v, which means what? If I put the value of u as 5, a as 0.5 and time as 10, then what do I get? 0.5 into 10 is 5, 5 plus 5, the final velocity very easily comes out to be 10 meters per second. Wow, we got the answer. We got the answer. I'm so happy. Got the answer as option D. That's where we made the mistake. I've seen this happening with many students. Tell me if you got the answer as option D or not. Tell me that in the chat box, in the comment box. Yes, guys, you must have got the answer as 10 units, and you will be very happy, especially on the day of examination. If this question is there for all of you, you will think that I'm getting 4 marks for this very easy question in the exam of JEE. So do I say that the question is not easy? Is the question's answer not option D? So yes, answer is not option D. So do I get plus 4 marks? Obviously not. You will be having a -1 score for this question. Why so? Tell me, sir, why? Guys, when you are applying this is meant for cases where the body has a uniform acceleration and the body is moving in the same direction. That means motion in 1D is what you will be applying here for. So when you are taking this into consideration with this acceleration, you are neglecting the fact that body has different acceleration on x-axis and has different acceleration on y-axis. So if you will try to solve this question by finding the value of velocity's x component and velocity's y component, then you will see that the answer will not come out to be same. Let's see that. Okay, so because it is motion in 2D, it's not motion in 1D, you will have to split the motion along x-axis and y-axis, as I told you earlier. So guys, what is ux given to you? It is given to you as 4. Sorry, this is given to you as 3. And what is given to you as uy? It is given to you as 4. So that's 3, and y component is 4. If we see what is acceleration's x component, this is 0.4. What is acceleration's y component? It is 0.3. Now what you apply? Obviously you apply v equal to u plus at, but now you apply that for individual directions. That means what? If I try to find out vy, which is uy plus ayt, not writing the formula, you are aware about that, it will be 3 plus 0.4 into 10. That means what? Vy you get as 3 plus 4, that is 7. So the x component, sorry, this is vx. Value is same, it is just that it is vx. Okay, so vx comes out to be 7. Units are not being mentioned, so let's just leave the value as 7 only. And similarly, if you calculate vy, that value is going to be initial velocity plus acceleration multiplied by the time, that is given to us as 10 seconds. That means what? 4 plus 3, that means vy also comes out to be 7. That means what, guys? You have a velocity whose two components are equal. At what time? At t equal to 10 seconds. Apart from that, it is not going to be the same situation, because the x and y direction velocities are not changing at the same rate. It's the instant where the velocities two components are becoming equal. Now if you'll try to find out the final velocity as under root of vx square plus vy square, then the value is 7 square plus 7 square. You are sure that the answer is going to be not option D, but option A, that is 7 root 2 times. Okay guys, 7 root 2 units is the answer. See, I'm telling you guys that these are the mistakes which we end up making. Yes, the chapter is easy, but if you get overconfident with the formulas which are there in the chapter, then there are very high chances that you will end up making these silly mistakes. Okay, tell me in the comment box if you got the answer as option D or you got it in the very first attempt as option A. Okay, be honest and tell me very honestly in the chat box what was your answer. Did you make this mistake which we made in the beginning when we were trying this question by directly applying v equal to u plus at? Okay, so guys, a question from JEE 2009 this is. Let's go forward to the next question. Look at the question, guys. Now this question, if you read it, it says that a water fountain on the ground sprinkles water all around it. So if the speed of water coming out of the fountain is v, then the maximum area around the fountain that gets wet is. Means what, guys? Say the water is coming out of this fountain in all possible direction. Okay, let me try to draw this. So this is how the water is going in all possible direction. It is coming in all possible direction. Okay, which means what? If you will look at the ground, something like this of an area must be covered by it. It's a three-dimensional diagram, obviously. Okay, that means what? If you want to find out that how much amount of area has been covered by it, assuming that it has zero height, because if that height is there, then obviously it will be difficult for us to solve that according to that. So from this point, say the water is coming out, and at the same level the water is going to fall. So this area is being created over here, okay, not at the ground here, okay, the ground is here. So what you see here, that all the water droplets are starting with a velocity v and are going to cover a distance x by the time they fall on the ground, and that x is nothing but the radius only, okay. Means what? If I want to calculate the area which is being covered by water, if I look at it from the top, it's going to be like a circle, and this is basically R. This is where the fountain is, and this is the area in the form of circle. So what I'm interested in is the total area covered as pi r square. But now that is where the concepts of projectile motion come into picture. We want to maximize this area. If you want to maximize the area, you can see that you have to have your radius of the circle to be maximum. And when do we get the radius to be maximum? When the water droplets fall at the maximum distance from their initial point. Which means what? The maximum range, if it is covering, then only that is possible. And we know that a projectile covers maximum range when it is projected at an angle of 45 degree. So it's basically an angle of 45 degree. And what is R here now? R is nothing but capital R, and we are talking about R max, which is u square by g. You know the formula, it is u square sine 2 theta by g. So sine 2 theta has to have maximum value, that is 1. Now the question is simple. This initial velocity which I have written as u, according to the question it is given as v. So this is v square by g. All you have to do is put the value of r here. So area maximum will be pi square of this value is v to the power 4 by g square, as simple as this, okay. So if you check the options, you have option A as your answer, okay. Easy one again. Yes, it involves a bit of visualization, then you'll be able to crack the question very easily. Mathematics involved is very simple. Question from JEE 2011. Okay, cool guys. So let's move on to the next question now. Read the question, guys. What does the question say? Question tells you that the position of a particle as a function of time is given as x square equal to at square plus 2bt plus c, and a, b, c are constant, and the acceleration of particle varies with x as x to the power minus n. Value of n is to be found. And guys, the question is from JEE 2020. That means in the month of January, the exam which happened, it had a question from kinematics also on the day of 9th January. There were 2 questions on both the shifts, one in the morning, one in the evening shift. And this one is one of those questions. We want to find out the value of acceleration. Its dependence on x is to be given and n value is to be found. Let's try to simplify this, because acceleration will be double differentiation of displacement equation. Let's go by that. Looks like an easy question, but might turn out to be a little lengthy. So x square is given to you as at square plus 2bt plus c. Okay, so if I differentiate it, I will have 2x dx by dt, which is v, equal to 2at plus 2b, t differentiation 1, c differentiation is 0. You can see that this 2 gets cancelled. That means we have xv equal to at plus b. Okay guys, from here we may require the value of v, so that will be at plus b by x. Okay, now from here we'll differentiate, but this time the differentiation will be for both the factors which are given, both the quantities which are given. So if I differentiate, say, v, keeping x constant, so v differentiates to give you acceleration, so it is, I'm writing it as capital A because small a is being used on the right hand side, and this is differentiation of v, keeping x constant, plus sign. Now you will differentiate x, keeping v constant, so differentiation of x is v, so v into v will become v square. Okay, keeping v as it is, x differentiates to give you the value as v, and that's why you have v square here. That means it is a t plus, oh, the differentiation of right hand side is to be done over here. Okay guys, so a t differentiates to give you a, differentiation of b will be 0. Okay, so we are looking for capital A. Looks like capital A is going to be a minus v square divided by x. That's what is going to be the relationship between acceleration v and x. From here, if you will say that a is proportional to v to the power minus 1, and you will think that the answer is going to be 1, and the question, as you can see, has no option. So this is basically a integer type of question which was asked in this examination. So you'll be making a mistake there. Why guys? Because a is also depending on v here. The numerator is not a constant, so you have to convert the entire thing apart from x as a constant. So what do you do now? That is where I told you that we will require the expression of velocity. We'll put that expression of v over here. Let's do that. So acceleration is a by x minus v square by x. Squaring this is a t plus b square divided by x square multiplied with this x gives you x cube. Take the LCM. If you take the LCM, you will have ax square minus, this is a square t square and plus b square plus 2ab t. Whole thing divided by x cube. Okay, still not done because x square, its expression is to be put over here. Let's do that. So if it is a multiplied with this term will be a t square plus 2bt plus c minus a square t square plus b square plus 2abt, that's in bracket. This whole thing is divided by x cube. Now see guys, now see, multiplying, I have a square t square plus 2abt plus ac minus a square t square minus b square minus 2ab and t divided by x cube. What do you see? A square t square gets cancelled. You have 2abt and 2abt getting cancelled. That means entire t factor is being removed, so that now you can say that on right hand side everything is a constant apart from x cube in the denominator. So you have ac minus b square divided by x cube, which says proportionality is x to the power minus 3, which means what guys? The answer to this question, which is to be compared with x to the power minus n, so the answer to this question is 3. Okay, so what's the answer to this question? It's 3. When you compare this with that, we get the value of n as 3. Okay, interesting question. Yes, as I told you, it's not difficult, but again a time taking and lengthy question. So guys, be careful whenever you are getting a question which may require a lot of time, again and again repeating. You are, I'm sure, will be able to solve this question, but you want to allocate the time very wisely. You don't want to miss out on the time and miss out on the easy questions parallel to this, which you can solve relatively faster and more questions. Okay, so guys, this is one of the questions from JEE 2020. Let's have a look at the another one. Now this one, what you see here says that a particle starts moving from origin with velocity 3 I cap, and this is the initial velocity from origin. It is starting to move. Acceleration is 2-dimensional. That means it's going to have its velocity in y direction as well now after some time. So we have to find the x coordinate at the instant when the y coordinate of the particle becomes 32 meter. Okay, so the y displacement has been given in the question. This question is from JEE 2020 again, and this is the second shift paper, and on the same day on both the examination papers you had the question coming from kinematics. So guys, initial velocity you can write as 3 I cap plus 0 j cap. Yes or no? And acceleration has already been given for both the components, that is 6 I cap plus 4 j cap. So I need to know at what time the body's y coordinate will become 32 meters. Okay, so for y direction, initial velocity is 0, acceleration is 4. So let's use y equal to uyt plus half ay t square. Okay, so y is 32, and this value, which is given as 32, is to be equated with uyt, which is 0, plus half ay, you can see, is 4 into t square. So guys, when you cancel this, you get 2, you cancel this, you get 16. So t square is 16. That means body will be at y coordinate 32 when the time elapsed has become 4 seconds. Okay, very simple. Now we'll apply the same thing for x direction, which is uxt plus half ax t square. Okay, so you have the value of time now, you have ux, you have ax as well. So x is going to be 3 into the time, that is 4, plus half into acceleration, that is 6, into 4 and the square. Okay, so this is 12 plus 3 into that value, or if you simplify this, this is 16 by 2, that is 8, 8 6 are 48, means what? X comes out to be 60, and yes, the units are meters. Okay guys, very simply, again an integer type of question from kinematics from JEE 2020, this year's examination, and happened on 9th of January. Hope you were able to solve this question. This is relatively easier and relatively less time consuming than the previous question. Okay guys, let's move on quickly to the next question. Read the question guys, read the question. Again an integer type of question it looks like. Yes it is, and it is also from JEE 2020, that too on 8th of January, the third question which came this year. Let's read the question. Question says that position of two particles A and B as a function of time are given by minus 3t square plus 8t plus c, and on y-axis the particle B is moving, A is moving on x-axis, B is moving on y-axis. Its displacement is changing as 10 minus 8t cube. The velocity of B with respect to A at t equal to 1 is going to be under root v, and we have to find out that value of v. Okay, so this is not just kinematics, it is also relative motion. Okay, so let's first try to find out the value of their individual velocities, that too at t equal to 1 seconds. So how will I get the value of A? It is going to be dx by dt. So if you differentiate, you get minus 6t plus 8, and at t equal to 1 second, VA will be minus 6 plus 8, that is 2, because units are not given, so we'll just write it as 2 only. Okay guys, next thing is velocity of B, which is differentiation of this. And yes, one thing which I forgot to mention, because it is on x-axis, so let's write it as 2y cap. If you differentiate this one, differentiation of 10 will be 0, differentiation of 8t cube will give you 8 as it is, and 3t square, that means 8 3s are 24 t square. Okay, so this is the velocity, and now at t equal to 1, you can see that velocity of B comes out to be minus 24 but j cap. Okay, you can write I cap here itself, and you can write j cap here itself. Okay guys, so what we get, that the particle is moving on positive x direction along x axis, and on y axis it is going towards negative direction. So this is the kind of situation. This is negative y and this is positive x direction velocity. So the velocity is going to be somewhere in the 4th quadrant. Okay, but we have to just find out the value of the magnitude. So how do I get the value of velocity of B as seen by A? It's nothing but velocity of B minus velocity of A, which means what guys? Velocity of B is minus 24 j cap and minus of 2y cap, or you can rearrange to write it like minus 2y cap minus 24 j cap. Okay, so that is the relative velocity. So the relative velocity will obviously come out in the third quadrant. Reason being, this was the x component, this was the y component. So this is VA, this is VB. So this is minus VA. So this is the relative velocity on third quadrant. Okay guys, so magnitude of VBA was asked in the question, which is going to be under root of 2 square plus 24 square. So this is 4, square of 24 is 576. So what do we get? We get VBA, according to the question, which is supposed to be root V, as under root of 580. So what do we get the value of V as? Numerical value is 580, and that's the answer to this question. Okay, now again, we expect questions from kinematics to be straightforward. I would not say it is very difficult to solve, but yes, involves a lot of concepts from kinematics itself. More than that, it requires calculations. So again, a bit of time consuming question. From my expectation, kinematics is supposed to involve questions usually in JEE also, which are very easily and very quickly solvable. But nevertheless, questions were there from kinematics and were solvable. As you can see, it's quite evident over here. Okay guys, so these are the 3 questions from previous or just now the JEE which has happened. Next question is for all of you guys to solve. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get aside for a few seconds so that you can take a screenshot of this question. Meanwhile, I'll read the question for you. It's a JEE 2019 question. It says that there is a body which is projected at t equal to 0 with a velocity 10 meter per second at an angle 60 degree with the horizontal. Looks like a projectile question. The radius of curvature of its trajectory at t equal to 1 is capital R. It's not the range, okay? That's the radius of curvature at t equal to 1. You have to find out the value of R. The radius of curvature is to be found. Options are given as 2.5, 2.8, 10.3 and 5.1 meters. Okay guys, reminding you once again, R is not the maximum, or it's not the horizontal range, it's the radius of curvature. When the body has traveled for 1 second, it has reached somewhere in the path, and from there, for that part of the curvature of the trajectory, you have to find out the radius of curvature. Okay guys, a question from JEE 2019, and I'm sure you will be able to try this and solve this as well. Only advice is, this is a very unusual kind of JEE question from kinematics, so be careful and try to allot proper time to this question. You'll be able to get this. Okay guys, so this brings us towards the end of this session, and there is one more very important information that I want to share with all of you. That say if there comes a chapter which you are not very good at, I'm sure kinematics is not going to be one of those chapters, but it happens with many students that they are fond of a particular chapter like physics, for a particular subject like physics, but then there are chapters in physics also which you are not very good at. Okay, be it rotation, be it electrostatics, capacitance, or be it a chapter like electromagnetic waves or communication also. Sometimes the chapters which we usually are not fond of. But then you know that in exam like JEE, you have questions coming from any part of the subject, so you don't want to miss out on those questions which are from the topics which you neglected. So you don't want to neglect those chapters, and if you are only interested in strengthening your concept in a particular chapter, then guys, this is a very amazing solution just for you, which we call as Vedantus micro courses. All you can do here is find out each and every chapter that you want to study, not the entire subject, but just that chapter. Read and study and learn the chapter, solve the questions at your convenience, whenever you are free, at your speed and at your convenience completely. And that is what micro course is all about. So guys, if you want to go for any chapter of any subject, all you have to do is follow this link. Again, the link will be available in the description below of this video. Amazing part is that the micro courses are as reasonable as 11 rupees. So even the money should not be a barrier for you to be able to strengthen your concept in a given chapter for any subject. So all you have to do guys is use this coupon code SHMIC and you'll be able to avail 95% of discount on any of the micro courses which are available on Vedantus platform. Okay guys, so don't miss out on all these opportunities. Cool guys. So now this is about towards the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed the session, if you guys liked the question that we solved today from kinematics, then do not forget to hit that like button just below this video. Also guys, if you think that this is going to be something helpful for you as well as to your friends, so do share this video with your friends. And if you have not done yet, then certainly I would want you to subscribe to the channel, because we are coming up with entire physics, entire chemistry and entire mathematics questions which have come in previous year examinations. We will be solving all those chapters questions, so you don't want to miss out on all those updates. Also, you can join the Telegram group where we keep on sharing not just the information regarding the sessions, also we keep on sharing a lot of important material which are related to exams like JEE. Okay guys, so do not miss out on any of these opportunities. Do like, do share, do subscribe with your friends, and I'll be seeing you again in the next session. We'll be taking up another chapter. We'll be cracking questions from JEE and strengthening our concepts in that particular chapter. Okay, so guys, stay tuned. I'll see you again. Till then, keep smiling, keep enjoying physics. Take care. Bye-bye.